Hey everyone! Welcome to the Bold and Beautiful 24. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. Liam undergoes risky experimental surgery as Bill prays for a miracle. The sun hadn't even risen yet, but inside the small private clinic on the edge of Los Angeles, the tension was already heavy. The overhead lights buzzed softly, casting a sterile glow over the pristine white walls. Liam Spencer sat propped up in a hospital bed, his expression calm on the surface, but there was no hiding the fear behind his eyes. His father, Bill Spencer, stood nearby, trying to stay strong for both of them. He'd always been the one in control, the one who moved mountains for his family. But right now, all he could do was be there, waiting, hoping, and praying for a miracle. "You feeling okay?" Bill asked, his voice quiet. Liam glanced at him, then down at his hands, which were folded tightly in his lap. "I don't know," he admitted. "I'm trying to keep it together, but this place, it doesn't feel real. A private facility, experimental surgery. I never thought I'd be in a situation like this." Bill tried to smile. "Well, I didn't think I'd ever be in a situation where my son was fighting for his life. But here we are." Just then, Grace Buckingham stepped into the room. Her presence brought a strange sense of comfort. She was calm, focused, and clearly believed in what they were about to do. "I know this is unorthodox," she began, glancing at both of them. "But I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in the surgeon and the procedure. I trust my colleague completely. And I believe in Liam's will to fight." Liam exhaled slowly, nodding. A few minutes later, nurses entered and began prepping Liam for surgery. The soft rustle of paper gowns, the beep of machines being set up, the murmur of last-minute checks, it all blended into a low hum of anxiety. Then the surgeon entered. He looked confident but serious, nodding politely to Bill. "We're ready." Bill stepped forward. "I'm counting on you," he said, his voice almost a whisper. "That's my son in there. Do everything you can." Liam looked over at his father. "Are we good to go?" Before they wheeled him into the operating room, Grace gently pulled Bill aside. "I hate to bring this up now, but the payment, it needs to be wired and confirmed before we proceed." "Full amount," she said in a hushed tone. Bill didn't hesitate. "Text me the details. I'll take care of it right now. I'm not losing my son over money." Back at Liam's side, Bill leaned in and kissed his forehead. "I'll be right outside. I love you." Liam nodded, blinking back tears. "I love you too, Dad." Their eyes lingered on each other for a moment longer, neither wanting to let go. Then Liam was wheeled away, and the doors to the OR swung shut behind him. At the hospital, a missing patient. Meanwhile, back at the main hospital, Bridget Forrester was walking the halls, clipboard in hand, still doing her morning rounds. She stopped by Finn's office, where the two caught up quickly. "I was just about to go check on Liam," Bridget said. "Hopefully he had a restful night." Finn looked thoughtful. "Honestly, I'm amazed by him. He's going through all this, and still he's thinking about everyone else first. He literally threw himself in front of a bullet to protect Steffy." Bridget nodded solemnly. "I know. I can't stop thinking about that either." Finn stared at the floor for a beat. It's been hard to even process the idea that he might not make it. Steffi's trying to stay strong, but I can tell it's weighing on her. "I'm sure Liam will want to go home as soon as possible," Bridget added. Finn shook his head. "He's not ready. Not yet." Just then, Poppy Nozawa appeared in the hallway, looking hesitant. Her face was pale, her eyes rimmed with sleeplessness. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said, "but I need to speak to you about Luna." Finn blinked, unsure what to say. "Poppy, now's not the best time." "I know," she said quickly. "But please, I need to say this." She stepped closer. "I know I failed her. Luna loved you, Finn. She loved you in a way I never truly understood until now. And I didn't love her the way she needed me to. There's so much I regret, so much I should have done differently. But not telling her the truth about her father? That's what I'll carry for the rest of my life. Bridget quietly stepped away, sensing this wasn't a conversation she should be part of. Poppy's voice broke. I know I said horrible things. I said I was glad she was gone, and I didn't mean that. She was my daughter. And yours. Doesn't that mean anything? Finn looked down. What do you want me to say? Luna was disturbed, Poppy. She hurt people. People I love. But she was still our child, Poppy whispered. You have to feel some kind of loss. I do, Finn admitted. But I also have a job to do. I need to check on Liam. He turned away, and Poppy looked crushed. Do you expect me to say something to make you feel better? She didn't answer. A knock on the door pulled Finn away. One of the nurses was calling for him. And just like that, he was gone. Bridget learns the truth. Later, Bridget returned to Liam's hospital room and found it empty. She frowned, then turned to a nearby nurse. Did he go for more tests? The nurse checked her tablet. Actually, Dr. Buckingham signed him out earlier this morning. He's been released into the care of his father, Bill Spencer. Bridget's eyebrows shot up. Released? The nurse nodded. Yes, all signed off. Dr. Buckingham handled it personally. Concerned, Bridget quickly found Finn and filled him in. She let him go. Finn repeated. Yes. She released him into Bill's care, Bridget confirmed. I'm sure Bill's arranged for every specialist imaginable to be involved. But I don't know, Finn. Shouldn't we have had a say in this? Finn's face was unreadable. Bill would move heaven and earth for Liam. Still, I wish we knew more about where they took him. At Forrester, no love lost for Luna. At Forrester Creations, the mood was somber but focused. Steffy, Carter, and Hope sat around the conference table, going over recent events. What Liam did. I'll never forget it, Steffy said, her voice low. He lunged in front of the gun. He saved me. He's an incredible man, Hope agreed. Brooke entered just then. Liam Spencer is a true hero, she said firmly. The conversation soon turned to Liam's diagnosis. Carter shook his head. The way you and Hope have supported him, it's been powerful. Brooke sighed. I wish we'd known sooner. He didn't want anyone else worrying, Hope said quietly. He didn't want to be treated differently. So, there's really nothing the doctors can do? Brooke asked, still in disbelief. Carter and Hope looked at each other before Hope shook her head. Steffi changed the subject. Luna was taunting Liam. That's how it started. She just snapped. And now, she's gone. What about Finn? Carter asked. How's he coping? Steffi frowned. I'm not sure. But he's not talking about it much. Brooke added, I'm sure he has mixed feelings. It's a complicated kind of grief. Hope chimed in. I never understood how Luna thought she could just insert herself into all our lives like that. Steffi nodded. She was obsessed. And dangerous. I know it sounds harsh, but I'm not about to shed any tears over her. Later, Steffi picked up her phone. I'm going to check in on Miss Dillon. I want to know how Liam's doing. Carter asked, any idea when he'll be back home? Knowing Bill. Steffi scoffed. He'll want to keep Liam with him. And honestly, after everything, I blame him for a lot of this. Hope shook her head. I'm just grateful we still have Liam. That's what matters now. Bill prays for a miracle. Back at the clinic, Bill stood in the hallway with his phone pressed to his ear, giving sharp instructions to his assistant. I need that wire transfer processed immediately, he barked. Send it now, no delays. He ended the call and leaned back against the wall, looking up at the ceiling. For a moment, the weight of everything hit him. If someone has to go, he whispered, take me. Just don't take my son. Please. Please. Inside the OR, Grace glanced at the surgeon. Everything was ready. Scalpel, she said calmly. They began the operation. The operating room was cold and quiet, with only the soft beeping of machines breaking the silence. Liam lay unconscious on the table, his chest rising and falling slowly, as the surgical team worked quickly but carefully around him. Dr. Grace Buckingham stood beside her colleague, eyes focused, voice calm. Everything had been arranged exactly to plan. The private clinic was secured, the team was prepped, and every step of this experimental procedure had been mapped out in fine detail. Still, as she looked down at Liam, she couldn't help but feel the weight of what they were doing. This wasn't just another case. This was personal. She knew the risks were enormous, but so was the potential reward. Her colleague, the lead surgeon, made the first incision. The procedure had begun. In the waiting room, Bill's longest hours. Meanwhile, Bill paced the hallway like a caged lion. Every few minutes he'd check his phone, even though he knew the wire transfer had already gone through. There was nothing else for him to do, except wait. He paused, staring out a nearby window. The city outside was starting to wake up, the first rays of sunlight peeking over the buildings. He clenched his fists, whispering again into the silence. "Please," he said, barely audible. "Don't take him from me. Take me instead if you have to. Just let him live." The thought of losing Liam, his son, his blood, was too much to bear. He'd already lived with so many regrets, so many missed chances. He wasn't perfect. Far from it. But he loved his children with every fiber of his being. And now, everything rested on what was happening behind those sterile double doors. Back at the hospital, worry spreads. At the hospital, Bridget was growing more and more concerned. The fact that Liam had been quietly released into Bill's care didn't sit right with her. Grace hadn't mentioned any plans for discharge. There had been no formal consultation, no second opinions. She found Finn again in one of the break rooms, staring blankly into a cup of coffee he hadn't touched. "I talked to the nurse again," she told him. "Liam's definitely gone. Signed out by Grace. No forwarding information. No formal notice." Finn ran a hand through his hair. "Do we even know where they took him?" "No," Bridget replied, folding her arms. "But something tells me this wasn't an ordinary transfer. This feels off-book. Bill would never just take Liam somewhere without a reason," Finn said. "There's no way he'd risk his life like that." Bridget nodded. "Which means they're trying something the hospital wouldn't approve. Something experimental." At Forrester, tensions and reflection. Meanwhile, the conversation at Forrester continued to circle around Liam and Luna. "Do you think Finn's blaming himself for what happened to Luna?" Carter asked, genuinely concerned. "He hasn't said much," Steffy admitted. "But how could he not be feeling it? That was his daughter." "I still can't believe everything that happened," Brooke added. "That she had that gun. That it ended the way it did." Hope was quiet for a moment. "I keep thinking about how different things could have gone. If Liam hadn't been there. If he hadn't stepped in." Steffy glanced out the window. "He saved my life. That's not something I'll ever forget." Carter leaned forward. "Has there been any word from Bill? Or Grace?" "No," Steffy said. "But knowing Bill, he's probably doing everything possible. He won't let Liam go without a fight." The surgery ends. News at last. Hours passed. Inside the operating room, the final stitches were made. The machines beeped steadily, a welcome sign that Liam was still holding on. The surgeon peeled off his gloves and nodded at Grace. "He made it through," he said. "Vitals are stable. It's up to him now." Grace exhaled deeply for the first time in what felt like hours. "Thank you," she said. "This may have saved his life." They moved Liam into the recovery room, where he was hooked up to monitors and given medication to keep him sedated. Everything looked good, for now. Grace washed up and made her way out to the waiting area. Bill gets the news. Bill stood the second he saw her. "Well?" he asked, his voice shaking. "It's over," Grace said gently. "Liam's in recovery." Bill blinked, struggling to process it. Is he okay?" "The procedure went well," Grace confirmed. "There were no complications. He's still unconscious, but stable. The next 48 hours will be critical." Bill couldn't hold back the tears anymore. He let out a breath that was half laugh, half sob. "You did it. You actually did it. Grace gave a small, relieved smile. "We pulled off something close to a miracle, Bill." He followed her into the recovery room and stood at Liam's bedside. His son looked pale, worn down, but alive. Bill reached for his hand. "You're still here," he whispered. "You held on." Grace stepped back, giving him space. "He's going to need time. And rest. But if he continues to respond this well, he might get a second chance." Bill sat in the chair beside the bed, same as he had for days before. "You told us there was no hope. And now you're telling me he might live." Grace nodded. "That's exactly what I'm telling you." Bill looked up, voice cracking. "The odds were 1 in a million." "And you got it," she said softly. "Sometimes, 1 in a million is all it takes." Back at the hospital, suspicions grow. At the hospital, Finn and Bridget discussed next steps. They still didn't have a clue where Liam had gone, but both of them felt the same uneasy truth settling over the situation. "He had surgery," Bridget said. "I'd bet anything on it." Finn nodded. "And we'll find out where. Because whatever it was, it might have saved his life." At Forrester, holding on to hope, Steffi finally got off the phone with one of Bill's assistants and turned to the group. "He's alive," she said, her voice trembling. "What?" Brooke gasped. "Did the surgery happen?" Steffi nodded. "It did. Off the record, somewhere private. But it worked. He's in recovery." Hope closed her eyes, relief washing over her face. Carter smiled. "He made it through." Brooke shook her head, eyes misty. "Miracles do happen."